Gentlemen, there comes a moment in a man's life, somewhere after 40, when the world grows quieter, the noise of comparison fades, the rush to prove yourself slows, and a new kind of confidence begins to surface. Not the confidence that needs to be seen, but the confidence that simply is. At this stage, a watch isn't there to impress anyone. It isn't there to shout wealth or chase attention. No, a watch becomes something far more personal. It becomes a story, a reflection of who you have become, what you've survived, what you value now, that you didn't understand in your 20s. So before we begin, I want you to do one thing. Comment the watch you're wearing right now, not to show it off, but to understand what it says about your journey, because every timepiece a man chooses tells the truth about him, even when he says nothing at all. This video isn't about fashion watches that will fade next season. It isn't about hype trends or flex culture. It's about presence, identity, legacy. These are 10/10 rated watches for men who have earned their place, not through noise, but through character. And we begin at the pinnacle. Number 1. Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. There are watches that sit on the wrist, and then there are watches that become a part of a man's silhouette. The Royal Oak is the latter. Created in 1972, when the world believed luxury watches had to be gold, polished, traditional, the Royal Oak broke the rules, not loudly, but with precision. The sharp angles, the exposed screws, the integrated bracelet. It is not ornamental, it is engineered. This watch is for the man who no longer needs to explain who he is. Because when you walk into a room wearing a Royal Oak, the people who understand craftsmanship understand you. Number 2. Patek Philippe Calatrava. If the Royal Oak is achievement made visible, the Calatrava is legacy understood. This is simplicity elevated to a higher standard. No excess, no distraction, just balance, proportion, restraint. Patek's philosophy says it best. You never actually own a Patek Philippe. You merely look after it for the next generation. This watch is chosen by the man who thinks beyond today, who understands that worth is not momentary. It is inherited. Number 3. Rolex. Datejust is the signature of a man who leads, not loudly, but steadily, with consistency, with routine, with standards. It works with a suit. It works on vacation. It works at family dinners and high-stakes meetings. The Datejust says, I know who I am and I don't need permission to be him. Number 4. Rolex Submariner Strength, Capability, Readiness. The Submariner is the watch of the man who shows up when it matters, every time. It is not luxury for luxury's sake. It is luxury with purpose. It adapts, it endures, and it remains timeless because it was built that way. Number 5. Omega Speedmaster. Professional, the Moon Watch. Some watches are worn, others are carried through history. The Speedmaster went to the moon, not as a statement, but because it was trusted. This watch is chosen by the man who values meaning, who believes a watch should hold a story, not just a price. It is a reminder that adventure is not something you leave behind in youth. It evolves with you. Gentlemen, here is a truth most men learn late in life. A watch does not become meaningful because it is expensive. A watch becomes meaningful because it matches the man who wears it. A $200 watch worn with identity, composure, maturity will command more respect than a $20,000 watch worn for validation. Because after 40, the world does not look at what is on your wrist. It looks at your posture, your calm, your tone. your silence. The watch only reflects that. So now, we move from legendary luxury to timepieces that deliver presence at a level any man can step into. This is where taste rises above price. This is where you choose not to impress, but to align with who you've become. Number 6. Tudor Black Bay. Tudor is not for the man who wants everyone to know he's wearing something expensive. Tudor is for the man who appreciates substance over noise. The Black Bay 58 carries the heritage of Rolex, but with the humility of a man who no longer needs to prove anything. It does not try to stand out. It simply belongs wherever you are. The warmth of its gilt dial, the vintage proportions, the quiet confidence of its movement. This is a watch chosen by a man who has grown comfortable in his own silence. He doesn't need attention. He draws it without ever asking. Number 7. Longines Master Collection. There is elegance that shouts, and then there is elegance that breathes. The Longines Master Collection is refined without being fragile. It carries history without demanding acknowledgement. It rewards the man who looks closely. Blued hands that reveal themselves only in the right light. A dial pattern that only unfolds when someone is close enough to notice. This is not the watch for the man who wants to be seen. This is the watch for the man who wants to be understood. There is a difference, and at 40 plus, you know exactly what that means. Number 8. Tissot PRX Powermatic 80. Not every refined man wears suits. Some carry presence in a polo shirt, tailored jeans, quiet conversations, and steady eyes. The PRX Powermatic 80 is for that man. The integrated bracelet, the sleek modern silhouette, the textured dial that catches light without demanding it. This is effortless refinement. You take it off Friday evening, return Monday morning. Time hasn't stopped, the watch hasn't paused, because the man wearing it keeps moving. Life doesn't break his rhythm. He sets the rhythm. Number 9. Oris Aquis Date. Let's talk about depth. Not everyone appreciates the Aquis. And that's exactly why it matters. This watch is chosen by men who understand capability, not as performance, but as readiness. The Aquis does not want to be a luxury object. It wants to be a tool in the life of a capable man, steel that can take life's impact, a bezel that ages with grace, a dial that shifts color like memory in changing light. This is not a watch for the man who performs strength. This is for the man who is strong, quietly, consistently, without spectacle. The kind of strength that holds families together, that builds, protects, endures. The Aquis is simply the wrist's way of saying, I'm built for the long run. Number 10. Seiko SKX0007. And now, we close with the watch that proves everything we have discussed. The SKX is not a luxury showpiece. It is not a collector's trophy. It has never pretended to be more than it is. And yet, it is loved, respected, remembered, passed from wrist to wrist, story to story. Why? Because this watch has lived more life on more men's wrists than any luxury piece ever could. It has been there during promotions, failed marriages, first homes, road trips with no destination, loss, perseverance, restarting life at 40 when you didn't think you still could. The SKX is a companion, a witness, a memory keeper, and sometimes the most meaningful watch is the one that has seen your life unfold instead of sitting in a box waiting to be admired. At 40 plus, you already know. Style isn't clothing, confidence isn't volume, respect isn't requested, and dignity isn't performed. A watch does not make a man makes the watch meaningful. Choose the watch that reflects the life you have lived and the life you are still becoming, because time is not just passing anymore. Time is teaching, shaping, sharpening, and a man who understands time is a man who understands himself. Tell me in the comments, which watch feels closest to your identity right now, and why? Not to impress anyone, but to speak your truth. I will reply personally and help you choose the timepiece that aligns with your story. Because in a world full of noise, a man who chooses with intention stands apart.